Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Our mission, as always, is to take these really complex, dense topics and just pull out the core knowledge you need right now.
And today we're tackling a big one Chinese pronunciation. I think a lot of people see it as this first massive hurdle when they start learning.
Oh, absolutely. The tones, the characters, it seems impossible.
Right. But we're going to deliver what is essentially a fast-track course on the mechanics of standard Chinese, or as it's called, Putonghua.
Exactly. So, for you listening, we're aiming to give you the essential operating manual, not just the basics, but the tricks, the shortcuts, and the rules you absolutely cannot ignore if you want to master the sounds of pinyin.
To do that, we have to set the landscape first. We're focusing specifically on Hanyu. That's the language of the Han majority.
And within that, just one specific standard dialect, right?
Precisely. We're talking about Putonghua, which is based on the Beijing pronunciation. This is so important because, as all our sources point out, regional dialects can completely change tones, even vocabulary.
I mean, that can lead to total miscommunication, right?
Instantly. You could be saying all the right words with the wrong tones for that region and be completely misunderstood.
Yeah, I remember reading about a learner who thought his Mandarin was great, went to a different province, and suddenly nothing worked. The local tonality just erased his comprehension.
So sticking to the standard, Putonghua and its romanization system, Hanyu Pinyin, gives you that solid, consistent foundation.
And pinyin is the system that represents the sounds of the written characters, the Jianhuazi.
That's right. And Pinyin itself has three parts that all work together. You have the Shengmu, which are the initials, basically the consonants.
Yeah.
Then the Yunmu, the finals, or vowels. And finally, the part everyone knows about, the Shendiao,
The tones.
the tones. And honestly, the single biggest finding from every resource we reviewed is this, and it's so important for adult learners.
What's that?
The tones are absolutely non-negotiable. You cannot pick them up later. You have to get them down early.
Why is that early focus so critical, though? I think a lot of people assume their ear will just adjust over time.
Because your mouth can learn to say the tones correctly long before your ear can actually hear them clearly in fast native speech.
Ah, I see. So you're building muscle memory.
Exactly. If you delay that practice, you're building the wrong muscle memory, and then you spend years trying to fix it when people don't understand you.
It's like an investment up front to save a huge amount of frustration later.
That's the perfect way to put it.
All right, let's jump into that musical component then, the shengdiao. So Chinese has four main tones, and then this neutral one, the jingsheng.
Correct. And I think the best way to start is to forget the numbers 1 through 4. Let's focus on the feeling of the tone, the pitch contour,
The shape of the sound.
the shape. So the first tone. This one is high and sustained. It just sits at the top of your comfortable speaking range and stays totally flat.
Like when you're thinking and you draw out the sound.
That's a perfect analogy. That sustained high pitch. Ah.
Okay, what about the second?
The second tone is a rising tone. It's a quick ramp up from your mid-range to your high range. It should feel like you're asking a question.
Like in English, if I said hello or what?
Exactly that inflection. A quick, sharp rise.
Ah.
Got it. Now, you said the fourth is sort of the opposite.
The fourth tone is the dramatic one. It's a sharp, rapid drop from the highest point in your range straight down to the lowest.
So it should feel forceful.
Very, like you're giving a command or shouting a name firmly. Ma. It's quick and it's sharp. Ah.
That leaves the trickiest one, the third tone. I hear this is where everyone gets stuck.
It is. Because it's a dip, you have to start low, drop even lower, and then rise just a little bit at the end. The biggest mistake learners make is starting too high.
Because then you have nowhere to drop to.
You have no room for the dip. The key is the depth. Think of a ball hitting the floor and just barely bouncing back up. The important part is hitting the floor, that low, resonant sound.
Okay, and that neutral tone, how does that work? It's just short, light, and unstressed. It's less of a tone and more of a rhythmic blip. Its pitch depends entirely on the tone that came right before it.
So you have to learn it in context.
Yes. The best way is to practice common pairings, like mama for mother or yai for grandfather. You'll start to feel that natural rhythmic drop.
And the strategy for all of these is to, exaggerate it first.
You have to overdo it slightly. You need to feel that physical, muscular movement of the pitch to really lock it into your memory.
Okay, so we've built the container for the sound, the musical quality. Now let's start filling it up. Let's talk about the actual sounds, the yunmu and shengmu.
Let's start with the 6 foundational vowels, the finals, the yunmu.
Okay.
Now, A, I, and U are usually not a problem for English speakers. Pretty straightforward. But the other three, they require some real precision with your mouth shape.
Let's start with O. It's not just O, is it?
Not at all. It's a compound sound. You start with the rounded O shape, but you immediately glide into more of an sound, UO.
So it's movement.
It's a movement. Think of the sound you make when you're surprised, like, whoa, it's that first part.
Got it. And the vowel E.
Also tricky. It has nothing to do with the E in bed. It's a sound that comes from deeper in your throat. Sort of an sound, like in the word sure, but a bit heavier.
And then the famous one, the E, with 2 dots, the U umlaut.
Ah, yes. This one is all about discipline. You have to make the tight pursed lip shape of a U sound.
Okay, lips forward.
Right. And while holding that exact shape, you try to say the vowel sound E. The key is your lips cannot move. They can't relax.
So you're saying E with oo lips.
That's the perfect description. Practice with words like mean woman or lean green to get that muscle memory of keeping your lips locked forward.
All right, we have the vowels. Let's move on to the 21 initials, the consonants, the shengmu. I know they're often grouped by where you make the sound.
They are. Let's start with some easy ones at the tip of the tongue. D, T, N, L. They're mostly straightforward, but this brings up a really key concept for D and T, aspiration.
Aspiration. I've heard that word. What does it actually mean in practice?
It's just about whether you release a puff of air or not. In pinyin, B, D, and G are unaspirated. They're soft. No puff of air.
So when I say ba for father, it's a clean sound.
Exactly. But P, T, and K are aspirated. When you say pa for afraid, you should feel a little burst of air in your hand if you hold it in front of your mouth.
Wow, okay, that's a huge distinction. So it's not about voicing, it's about the puff of air.
That's the insight that unlocks so much for English speakers because we tend to aspirate almost all of those sounds.
Okay, so we have the aspirated and unaspirated pairs. What's next?
Let's talk about the tongue root sounds. G, K, H. These are sounds you can feel coming from deeper in your throat. They have a heavier, almost guttural quality. Ga, ga.
Right, you can feel the vibration back there.
Exactly. Now we get into the really critical territory, the sibilants, the hissing sounds.
Okay.
There are 2 main groups, the flat ones, the dental alveolar sounds, Z, C, and S, and then the famous ones,
The tongue curling sounds.
the retroflex sounds, ZH, CH, SH, and R. For these, you have to raise the tip of your tongue up toward the ridge behind your top teeth. It curls back just a little.
And this is where that huge, tricky vowel rule comes in, right? The one everyone messes up.
This is it, so listen closely. When the vowel I follows any of those 7 initials we just mentioned, Z, C, S, or ZH, CH, SH, R, it is not pronounced like E.
It changes completely.
It does. It becomes this tight, buzzy internal vowel. To make it, you hold your tongue in the exact position for the consonant and just vibrate a sound from your throat.
So Z isn't Z.
Not at all. And Z isn't Z. It's a completely different sound.
Wow.
But if that same letter I follows the other key, group J, Q, X, then it is pronounced like E.
Okay, so that one distinction unlocks a massive part of the opinion chart.
It really does.
All right, this is a lot of mechanics. But what happens when these sounds start crashing into each other? Let's talk about the dynamics, the sound changes. Tone to Mandy.
Right. And these rules aren't there to make it harder. They exist to make the language easier and more fluid to speak.
The first big one is the third tone rule, right?
The most common one. When you have 2 third tones back to back, the first one changes its pronunciation to a second tone.
So the classic example, E.T. for hello.
Is actually pronounced ni ikyo.
And it's important to stress, this is only a spoken change. The little V marks, the tone marks, they stay the same when you write it.
Crucial point, and there's more. When a third tone is followed by any other tone, a first, second, fourth, or neutral, it becomes a half-third tone.
Meaning you only do the first part.
Exactly. You only do the low dip, you don't do the little rise at the end. In Shinji, the shin just drops low and stops right before you say G.
It's all about flow.
It's all about flow. Then you have rules for specific words, like bu, which means not,
It's a fourth tone word, a sharp drop.
normally. But if it comes right before another fourth tone, saying 2 sharp drops in a row is awkward, so bu changes to a second tone, a rising tone, it becomes bu.
And the number 1, yi, is even more complex.
It's the chameleon. Its base is a first tone, but it changes to a second tone, yi, before a fourth tone, and it changes to a fourth tone, yi, before a first, second, or third tone.
So it basically never stays a first tone unless it's all by itself or at the end of a phrase.
Or when it's used as an ordinal number, like first, it seems arbitrary, but like you said, it's all about optimizing for efficiency. It's smoothing out those phonetic roadblocks.
Okay, beyond the tone changes, there are also spelling rules in Pinyin that can be really confusing. They hide sounds that you're still supposed to say.
Yes, the hidden vowel rules. The big ones are E, U, E, and E. They get shortened in writing.
So E is written as just E,
Right. But you have to pronounce that hidden O. So the pinyin do is actually pronounced U.
and E becomes E, but you have to say the E. So do is really do-a.
And io becomes un, but you say u. The middle vowel is silent on the page, but not in your mouth.
You just have to memorize that.
You do. And the last big spelling rule involves that U, umlaut, the U sound, when it meets those J, Q, or X initials,
What happens then?
the dots just disappear. The umlaut is omitted. It's written as a plain U.
So when I see Ju, Q, or Zu written down,
Your brain has to automatically pronounce it with the U sound. It's Ju, Q, Su. This is a giveaway, really, because the sound Ju or Chu just doesn't exist after J, Q, or X in Mandarin.
so if you see J-U, Q-U, X-U, it's always the umlaut sound.
It's a freebie.
Okay, we've covered a ton. Let's wrap this section up with where to put the tone marks. It seems simple, but there's a logic to it.
There's a clear hierarchy based on which vowel is the most open. The mnemonic is basically the order of the vowels. A, O, E, I, U, U.
So the mark always goes on the A if it's there.
Always. A wins. If there's no A, it goes on O, no O, it goes on E, and so on.
What if you have I and U together, like in?
Then the rule is simple. It goes on the last one. And if you put a mark on an I, you have to remove the dot first.
This whole deep dive just shows that this isn't random at all. It's a highly logical, rule-based system.
Absolutely. And that logic just reinforces our starting point. That early investment in pronunciation is what saves you years of frustration.
So the takeaway for you is to dedicate separate practice time for this. Don't just hope you'll pick it up from listening.
No, you have to be deliberate. And I'd say, especially at the beginning, use really clean resources. Pinyin charts with audio, high-quality text-to-speech.
Why is that so important?
Because you want to be hearing and imitating the pure standard accent. You don't want to accidentally learn a regional variation that might confuse the tones before you've even mastered the basics.
Right, and practice reciting words by their tone patterns. A first tone plus a fourth tone. A second plus a third.
Exactly. Start with syllables, then tone pairs, then full sentences. It's that repetition that makes all these rules automatic.
So to recap, we've hit the non-negotiable importance of tones, the feeling of the four contours, those tricky aspirated consonants, and the critical sound change and spelling rules.
It's a lot, but it's the entire foundation.
So let's end with a practical application. A final thought for you to chew on. Let's take that really complex rule for the number one, yay.
Okay. Imagine you're in a shop. You want to order one of something. You'd probably say yige, because yag is a super common measure word.
And gi has a neutral tone.
It does. So, applying the rules we just learned, what tone should you actually use for you in that situation and why?
Okay, let's think. The rule was that yay is first toned by itself, but it changes to a fourth tone before a first, second, or third tone, and effectively before a neutral tone as well.
And since D is neutral,
Yi would become the fourth tone, so you'd say yay.
that's it. And it's drilling those little dynamic applications over and over that will make this whole system feel like second nature.
That's a wrap on our crash course in Chinese pronunciation. Start practicing those pitch contours today, and we will see you next time on The Deep Dive.